for the people that are already running ads, right? You're already advertising on a platform, say, such as Facebook, but you haven't yet turned on the engine that is YouTube ads. It's a lot simpler than you think it is. And the way we do it for our clients who are already running ads on a platform such as Facebook is we literally essentially copy and paste their Facebook ads onto YouTube. You already have a proven ad that's working on Facebook. You need to just simply duplicate that for YouTube, essentially the copy on that ad, and make it just YouTube ads ready.
Boom, 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 boom. What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast with your boys, Matt Wolf and Joe Fier. Check it. Welcome back to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast.
We're back and strap in, because if you want to learn a thing or two about paid YouTube ads,
Or 12.
or 50,
Yeah.
100, yeah, you're in the right place. So Brian Moncada is here on the show. He runs adspend.com. Great domain. This guy is behind the YouTube ads of guys like Dean Graziosi, Frank Kern, Roland Frazier, Bedros, Coolion, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. I already said Dean Graziosi. Russell Brunson. He actually helped with the mastermind.com launch, which was the biggest in the internet marketing history. Pretty dang big. He runs all the YouTube ads, and he has an amazing process that he's going to share with us today.
Yeah, this is essentially a master class. You're going to learn how to actually create the ads, what the ads should say, how to do the targeting on the ads, what sort of click-through rate you should be aiming for, how to set your bidding for your YouTube ads. Should you bid on optimized conversion, bid on something else? We cover the gamut, and I just nerd out and get into the weeds with him. So this is a freaking audio YouTube ad playbook.
Yes. To your point, correct.
Yeah.
So you will want to get the action guides to this episode and just pause right now, and you will thank us because they're required here. So flowchartgroup.com is the place you got to go to. Flowchartgroup.com. Within 2 weeks of this episode going live, you want to go there, plug in your email address. You also join our Facebook community, but you're going to get the notes in your email, and they will be gold. Guaranteed.
Gold. And one more quick shout out before we hand it over to Brian. We are in the process of rolling out a brand new course around podcasting called podhacker.com. So if you're interested in basically stealing our business model and doing exactly what we do, that's what podhacker.com is.
It's all yours.
So if you go to podhacker.com, you can get more details about that. And I think we're ready to go chat with Brian.
Let's do it. We are live. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing amazing, man. How are you guys?
Good, man. So, Brian, I mean, ad spend, I feel like it's been coming up, your company. It's coming up in all the right places. All of our friends, our circles, and I just keep hearing ad spend. And for a while, I didn't connect. Oh, that's Brian. And I know Brian, and we chatted, and he's been helping us out with a bunch of cool tactics and emails. And I think you're feeding his nerdiness around ads and media buying. And then that's why I was like even more stoked to have you on the show and present you to our crew here, because I think YouTube ads are it's kind of one of those spaces we've had some folks on, but like a total framework from start to finish, someone that's kind of green at YouTube ads, setting expectations, frameworks, processes. I don't think there's anyone better right now in our network than you. So appreciate it, man, and thanks for joining us today.
No, I appreciate you guys for having me. And yeah, just here to share as best as possible and help anybody out who's listening, who is maybe thinking about getting started on YouTube ads, or who's already, running YouTube ads for their business, but not seeing the results they want and want to take it to the next level or get it working finally, right? And just happy to dive into everything you guys want to just go nerd out on. I'm here, man.
You know us. Well, walk us back, because when you and I first chatted on Zoom, you told me some just cool stories, how you got connected with the leaders of the industry and you kind of got into these circles in the right places. And that's why I'm hearing your name, getting tossed around by even more of those. I'm like, okay, he's doing great stuff here. Tell us that journey and how you kind of broke into it.
Yeah. So without going too far back, basically when I was, 21 years old, I was basically doing door-to-door sales in California, and I knew I didn't want to do door-to-door sales the rest of my life, but I knew I wanted to build an online business, and I really just didn't see an end goal to make that happen in a door-to-door sales job. So I was basically kind of searching for a way to find a mentor and an opportunity to learn how to build an online business, specifically an advertising agency, because back in college at Arizona State, I stumbled across the show Mad Men, fell in love with the Don Draper lifestyle. And long story short, I needed a mentor, and I realized I needed a mentor, and I ended up creating an opportunity to go work for Dean Graziosi and learn direct response marketing. And what I mean by that is I basically knew he had an office in Scottsdale, which is where, I grew up in Arizona anyways, and I was in California. So I just thought, hey, why don't I just go back to Arizona and make an opportunity to go work for him? Long story short, I emailed his team and they reached out to me the next day, said, hey, it's funny you email us right now. We're actually looking for someone to bring someone on for ads. Can you come out for an interview tomorrow? So I quit my job that day doing door-to-door sales. So I packed up my car that night, drove out the next morning, and just for the interview with my car packed with everything I had. And I went all in, burned the boats, and I got the job. And I worked for Dean for 3 years and learned direct response marketing, learned how to advertise online, learned how to run YouTube ads in his company. And then I started doing that for other people who, discovered me through Dean's vehicle and asked me to run ads for them, started getting success there. And eventually it just got to a point where, hey, now's my time to fly. And I separated and now have been building adspend.com to be the number one YouTube advertising agency in the direct response marketing world. And so how I got connected with all these guys is just pretty simple. It's pretty crazy, but one person introduced me to the next person. That person introduced me to the next person. I did good jobs there. I most importantly wasn't a weirdo and was someone that they would love to grab a beer with and could actually depend on and trust me enough to not screw up things with their friends or not be a weirdo to their friends. And so that's how I got connected to guys like Frank, Roland, and all those cool cats that we all are friends with.
Right.
Very cool. Now, is there a story behind the adspend.com domain name? Because that's a pretty impressive domain name. I can't imagine that was just $10 on Namecheap.
It's definitely not $10. And the first time I reached out to the third-party host to get it, the story behind it is pretty funny. So I was doing client work on the side, and I knew my inspiration for the advertising agency was Mad Men. So my initial idea for my company was admin. Right. And because someone already had, or admin, and someone already had that domain. So I was like, okay, what could I do here? And then after my subconscious kind of just started thinking about it over like a week or two, finally the word ad spend just stuck with me. And I reached out to a third party host that said they had it at the time. And they were charging me $25,000 for it, which I didn't want to do at all. And I, more importantly, probably couldn't even afford it at that time. And then I was just like, man, this is crazy. I tried to haggle with them. I said, I'll give you $2,500 right now. They said no. The lowest will go $17,500. And I just dropped it. But I dropped it, and I ended up getting the license plate ad spend on my car. And funny enough, a year later, basically right around the time that COVID actually started really shutting down the world. At the time, I was just kind of going by the moniker YouTube Ad Pros. But I reached back out to them because I saw it was still available for sale. And at the time, they said, yeah, we'll do it for $10,000. And I was like, oh, so now you guys want to negotiate. And then I was like, I'll do it for $2,500. And they're like, no, well, the lowest will go $7,500. And I was like, yeah, I'll do 3,000 right now. And then they're like, back and forth, 5,000 right now. Here's a 48-hour link. You can buy it. You don't have to buy it, but it's going to expire in 48 hours. And I was like, 5,000. Yeah, that's worth it. And I bought it, and adspend.com was mine. So I got it on sale, boys.
Nice. I love that story, man.
Not to mention from 25,000 down to 5,000. That's a pretty deep discount there.
Yeah. And I think that obviously that investment's going to grow a ton, obviously, with the advertising agency. But yeah, I'm just crazy. I had the license plate. Now I have the domain. Now it's the company name. And yeah, it's just crazy, wild stories.
That's right. Well, how does your before we get into the tactics and stuff, how's the company grown? Like, is it mainly just you, or do you have a whole team, kind of agency built around this now?
Yeah, great question. So at the first beginning stages of it, it was obviously just me. I was, basically a high-paid freelancer doing everything by myself. And, that was good for a little bit until I realized, what's the end goal here for me, right? Do I really want to just be a high-paid freelancer the rest of my life, making a high-paying income and, having the freedom to do that on my time and my schedule? But at the end of the day, I knew that my end goal is always to be a leader and to be someone in a position to help other people. And I always wanted to be the actual, business owner, the leader of a company, and to build an organization where it was my family, right? My team. And so long story short, we've grown significantly where I now have, 2 full-time team members in-house and a few virtual assistants across the world. But we're a very lean team. We don't want to, become necessarily a watered down agency too fast, right? Our goal is to definitely grow. But right now we're more of a boutique agency that specializes in just YouTube ads for cold traffic businesses and info product businesses that want to crack the code to cold traffic. But that'll come with time. So it has grown significantly, and I've had to level up accordingly because of that, right? Not just being a solopreneur anymore, but having to learn how to delegate, having to learn how to manage, having to learn how to focus on what a CEO should focus on to grow the company and top line, revenue goals. But it's been a wild journey, and man, this is what I signed up for. And funny enough, when things started really happening was when COVID started really happening. And if that wasn't a time to, really just analyze it and say, there's never a perfect time to go off and do your own thing, then I don't know what is. And I always just think about how funny it's going to be to tell this story like I am right now, but also in the future down the road when I'm like, yeah, when I went all in, the world shut down and it was like, oh, holy crap, this is real now,
Yeah, there's no going back. But if you can get through a pandemic, I mean, that's like if you're pandemic proof and you're crushing it, I think that.
Pandemic proof.
Damn right, man. You got to make you feel good about that going all in, Yeah, I mean, because you impressed us from like second one, because I think you are very humble in that, like, oh, it's not like crazy rocket science to get all these clients and stuff, but like most people do just drop the ball, like with just not being super clear or upfront. Like you've been super, just really helpful for us to get clarity around some of the gaps that we have around YouTube ads. And we've talked to a lot of people about that kind of stuff. And, Matt, you nerd out on that the most and kind of tinker around. But that's why, Brian, I wanted to bring you here and basically talk about your thinking about the platform in general from kind of start to wherever I guess we go. But where do we start?
100%.
Like, where would you suggest that we kind of kick this off?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I guess if you don't have a business that's already making money, don't run YouTube ads, right? Definitely prove it to organic first. Definitely get some organic sales going. Definitely start building word of mouth. Definitely start building it through organic methods without spending any money, because you're going to waste a lot of money if your offer isn't proven, if your funnel isn't proven, if your back end isn't even in existence right now. But if you are a business owner who, specifically for us, obviously we help a lot of info product businesses that sell online courses, coaching, high ticket, programs, challenges, virtual masterminds, in-person masterminds, all that kind of, online education space. If you're already making, 6 figures from your business, I would even say a high 6 figures, it would need to be higher for sure. Like you're going to want to spend, and the budget you're going to have to start with depends on the offer, right? But for example, if you're selling a low ticket offer, let's say $37, you're going to want to be able to break even on that offer and still be able to, have a back end that makes up for that money. Otherwise, you're going to be too dependent on the front end to make it profitable day after day after day after day, which we've had problems with clients in the past because they were so dependent on being 2x, 3x, 4x on the front end. And if they were break even, they were like really mad. And more importantly, their business just wasn't sustainable, which that would be my first piece of advice, right? Is build the business enough to where you're making a significant amount of money from it to where you can realistically afford to lose, let's say $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and be okay with it while you get it dialed in, because you know that eventually you're going to crack the code to cold traffic. But in order to do that, you have to have all those systems in place. You have to have, your 30, 60, 90-day LTV of an average customer for your business, kind of mapped out already. Otherwise, you don't know exactly how much you can afford to spend on the front end for one new customer or one new lead, right? And not that you have to have all of those metrics dialed in, but it would be a better launch pad to have those metrics dialed in before you even dabble with ads, because you're going to end up wasting a lot of money just to fast track the success for your business instead of, taking it slowly but surely. For the people that are already running ads, right? You're already advertising on a platform, say, such as Facebook, but you haven't yet turned on the engine that is YouTube ads. Maybe it's because you just don't know where to get started. Maybe it's just because you don't know what videos you need to film or how the videos need to be filmed, how long they have to be, what you should say in those videos. Should they be 1-minute video clips? Do they have to be long form, VSLs? It's a lot simpler than you think it is. And the way we do it for our clients who are already running ads on a platform such as Facebook is we literally essentially copy and paste their Facebook ads onto YouTube. You already have a proven ad that's working on Facebook. You need to just simply duplicate that for YouTube, essentially the copy on that ad, and make it just YouTube ads ready. And what I mean by that is you need to make a video that's at least 2 to 3 minutes in length. It can't be 1 minute. It just doesn't get the message out clear enough in less than a minute. It has to be 2 minutes in length. And in that 2 minutes, you need to do 3 things. You need to hook the viewer, who's your ideal viewer. And in the hook, there's already 3 segments we could break down. The hook needs to include 3 elements, which is calling out your specific ideal customer, right? So if you're selling health and fitness supplements to men who are over 40 who want to increase their testosterone, you're not going to tell them in the first 5 seconds, hey, if you're a woman who wants to increase your testosterone, you got to be specific about who you want to go after. If you're a man over 40 who wants to increase your T levels naturally using natural supplements, right? That's just an example off the top of my head. But you need to call out that specific person. You need to give them a benefit or ask them a question that gets them thinking to hook them, or promise an end result that they want in the back of their head that their subconscious mind has been thinking about, and then hook them enough to get them to continue watching for at least another 25 seconds. That way, in the next 25 seconds, within the first 30 seconds of your YouTube ad, you do enough to qualify and disqualify everybody who's not your target demographic, and make sure that if they're not a part of your target demographic, they don't continue watching after 30 seconds and they don't click, because that's when you get charged. So within the first 30 seconds, if you can do those things, you're going to have a lot of you're going to save a lot of money on unwasted ad spend. And then you have the next minute or a minute and a half to give them exactly what you have to offer, share them your story, which is the second piece. So it's hook, story, right? And this is not new. Russell talks about hook, story, offer. Dean talks about hook, story, close. It's the model's simple. Hook, story, offer, hook, story, close. It's the same 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but that model works because then you go into who you are, why they should trust you, what you have to offer. Then of course, what they need to do next, which is for YouTube ads, is click the blue button on or below this video, and you'll be taken to a page that looks like this. And then you can show a little B-roll of the page they're going to be taken to, so they're not skeptical about what exactly happens next. You show them the customer journey, and then you obviously go in there and add some ethical urgency and scarcity. Don't just lie to people and say it's going away or it's limited seats and stuff, which people do, and everyone has their own way of doing things, but we like to make sure we're as ethical as possible, and we add ethical urgency and scarcity, and then just tell them to click. And if you have a good offer and if you have a good message within that video script, you're going to have a much better time cracking the code to cold traffic on YouTube ads. Now, that's the YouTube ads script process, but there's another layer of that. But before I kind of go into that, obviously I want to answer your questions. I know I kind of just went on a long tangent there.
That was epic, because I think that's probably the best starting point in thinking behind YouTube ads is catch them in the very beginning, but really, call them out, but disqualify. I think that's the biggest piece that most people aren't thinking of is you don't need to get everybody pushing through your ads, but if you have that 30-second span of time, make the most of it, and don't allow people to go past, ideally, let them hit the skip button, I think is what pops up, if it's not relevant.
Yeah. Now with these creatives, so just kind of, I'm going to probably get into the weeds on a few things that you bring up just because that's the way my brain works. But so on these videos, when you're making these creatives, like what do these look like? Are you doing slides? Is it a face to camera? Are you screen capture tutorials? Like, what do the creatives look like when you make them? Like, I understand the flow to them, but what's the visuals?
Yeah, great question. So I'll give you a few examples, right? When we worked with Frank Kern, he flipped on his iPhone, turned it horizontally, and just started free flowing. Now, not everybody's Frank Kern. Frank Kern's been doing this for 30 plus years. He can go free flow and pitch anything and it'll convert because he's had 30 years in direct response marketing and he's been one of the best sales copywriters in the world, right? Or copywriters in the world. But that works, right? So, and same with Dean. When I worked with Dean, some of the best ads he did were just on his iPhone in his backyard, walking around and just going off the dome. And all I would have to do was give him a few bullet points to talk about, give him a few ideas and topics and hooks, and he would just riff the rest. Not everybody's like that, right? People want the exact, tell me what to say. How do I say it? Or how do I make it? What does it have to look like? And I understand that too. So there's that method where it's hey, you can just go as simple as on your iPhone and go off the dome, follow that hook, story, close, hook, story, offer method. And if you're good on camera and if you have a solid understanding of those, things we just talked about with the script, you can do pretty well. But we've also seen the no face, no personality, and it's just a man or a woman recording a voiceover on top of a slide deck, right? A presentation on something like Google Slides with, just a white background and black text. And that actually converts because it gets your eyes intrigued on the text and the words they're hearing as you're reading them, and they're following along the story. And we found that actually works really well in the dating industry and relationship industry specifically. And we also have found that in the make money online industry that works as well. So you can just go as far as a voiceover and write your script out completely and just record it over a Google slide deck. That works as well, as long as you have those elements in there. And the key is the elements, the hook, the story, the offer, the first 30 seconds, the first 5 seconds of that first 30 seconds. And then we've also seen high quality production. Right now I'm using a very amazing camera that my good friend Nick and team member let me borrow for this interview, and we have for the company as well. And you can go as far as just direct to camera like this, where it's a little bit higher quality of production, and it raises the brand authority. It raises the brand's, value in the consumer's mind to make this seem more, appealing to them if you're going after that luxury market as well. Because sometimes the selfie style seems a little bit too cheap in a way, depending if you're someone who's supposed to be, selling this high quality thing too. So there's really 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but you can, the key here though is, and I was going to get this into my second point, now that you have the video ad flow for YouTube ads, right? You can't just film one ad. You can't just film 2 ads. You can't just film 3 ads. For example, and I always use this example because it's the truth. When I was working with Dean for his offer, Millionaire Success Habits, the free plus shipping book offer he was running for, almost 3 years when we were running it with YouTube, he made an ungodly amount of money on the back end, but also on the front end, he made like over $2 million just on the front end alone. But he also filmed 123 video ads for that one offer. 123. And Dean's good. Dean's really good. He's been doing infomercials. He was able to hook the attention of the housewife walking across the television set when they're going through the living room, right? With just a few words on the beginning of an infomercial. And he created 123 videos. So how are you going to tell me you're going to make 3 videos and those are going to convert? And then when we run those videos for you on YouTube and they don't work, it's our fault. Right? Just doesn't work that way. So you need to be able to put in the time and the effort to create different variations of these videos. So if you have a video ad that's already converting on, say, Facebook or on YouTube right now, and it's you direct to camera like I am right now, or you guys in the studio like you guys are right now, simply duplicate that video, but read it now on a slide, Google slide deck with just the words. So that way it's a voiceover, but it's a different variation of the already proven ad. Or simply change the 30-second intro to talk to a different customer base that you haven't targeted yet within the other variation, right? There's different ways to manipulate the already proven ad to make different variations, and try it selfie style, try it direct to camera if it's already proven. And you got to find that winner first and then make iterations of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you actually just answered the second follow-up question I was going to ask, which was how many variations of these ads do you make? So, perfect. What's next beyond this process then?
We always start off, we obviously don't have to start off with 123 videos, right? That's a crazy amount. We worked up to that right after over 3 years. But you would want to start off with at least 5 videos, especially if you're already running ads on Facebook or you already have a lot of traffic going to this offer. 2 videos are going to be remarketing specifically. 3 videos are going to be cold traffic specific. And those 3 videos are going to have 3 different hooks. So it's going to be the same core messaging, the same call to action, but each of those 3 cold traffic videos are going to have a different hook in the beginning, like we talked about earlier. And so you want to start off with at least 5 and test those. And then after the data, comes back to you after a week or so, then you can see which one's the pull away winner, and then start doubling down on that one, make iterations, or revise it completely if they're just duds. So obviously, once you have the video ads ready, you have 5 video ads ready, then you're ready to launch on YouTube. And to launch on YouTube, it's pretty simple. You need to create a Google Ads account. You need to have Google Analytics linked to Google Ads. You need to set up Google Tag Manager. At least that's the way we do it, because it's easier for site speed, for not slowing down the site speed. And once you have all 3 of those platforms up and running, you connect to 3, and then you upload those video ads into 5 different campaigns. Okay, so you're going to start off with 3 cold traffic campaigns. And the way we like to do our targeting process is pretty in-depth, but the easiest solution for everyone out there listening right now, if you want to run your own YouTube ads for your business, is keywords are your best friend, keyword targeting, as well as custom intent. And you're going to want to do in-market as well as custom affinity. So you want to go very broad, but also very specific at the same time. So the 3 campaigns you're going to want to start off with are a combination of 5 keywords to start, as well as 5 different custom audiences, a combination of keywords plus a combination of URLs and a combination of both. And then going a little bit more broad now, in market for advertising and marketing, in market for health and fitness coaching, right? And so whatever your offer is. And then the other 2 campaigns, especially if you're already running traffic online, is remarketing. So remarketing to website visitors, remarketing to order page visitors, 7-day lists, right? Remarketing to webinar room viewers who haven't converted to your offer. And you can even go as far as creating a Google search campaign as well within the Google Ads dashboard to take up the real estate and bulletproof your brand by bidding on your own name, your own brand, your own company, or your own product name. And yeah, you just get those videos uploaded, you get those campaigns created, you start targeting those audiences, and you have a pretty easy time getting data pretty quickly. Now, how do you find the keywords, right? How do you know how to what audiences to target in Google Ads when you want to run YouTube ads? Well, we do 2 specific keyword targeting campaigns when we start. We do broad and then we do specific. So for example, for you guys, right, if you wanted to find more, let's say, if you guys are selling a pod, I don't know if you guys do, but if you guys are selling a podcast, how to grow your podcast and monetize it to make a 6-figure income, let's say, right?
And we do have that.
You would definitely want to go after.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would definitely want to target, keywords related to very specifically, how to monetize a podcast,
right.
How to boost subscribers to a podcast, right? And Matt, this better than anybody because you've already, been doing the YouTube ads for you guys in the past, right? You'd go very specific, but you don't want to start with more than 5 keywords in my personal opinion, right? Some people say do as many as 20. Some people say do as many as 30. But what happens when you do that is you're going to press enable on that keyword campaign that has 20, 30 keywords, and you're going to have one keyword just spend all your money. And there's going to be the 18 of them or 19 of them that didn't spend anything or barely anything. And then you're going to have to pause that main keyword and then let the others do the same exact thing until you find maybe one winner. We like to do more campaigns in the beginning, less targeting options. So in this example, less keywords. That way you can get to a winner faster, or maybe there is no winner, but at least you have 2 or 3 keyword campaigns running that are specific, that are broad. That way you can find variations of those in there. And then you can find a winner faster and get to a success quicker. And it's the same thing with audiences as well. So like I said, you start with a keyword campaign for specific, keyword campaign for broad, like let's say podcasting setup in 2021, and then a few more variations of that are broad. And then you also have the in-market audience campaign, right? And you just start off with 5 audiences in the market for, I'm not even sure, but let's say podcast services, right? In the market for technology, for podcast hosting, right? Things like that. And you do the same thing as the keywords. You let that run and you find one that's a winner. Because there's only 5, you'll get to success a lot quicker, or maybe no success, but at least you'll be able to find a winner or no winner faster than having a totally stuffed campaign with 20 to 30 keywords or audiences that you're targeting. And you want to, so what we do, and I'm just giving you guys everything right now, what we do is we start off when we launch any new campaigns or any new account or campaigns, we start off with max conversions bidding strategy. It's a more aggressive bidding strategy, so it's going to spend your money pretty quickly, but you want to let this ride, in our experience, from at least 48 to 72 hours, usually 72 hours. We don't even touch anything within the first 72 hours because we want the data. very quickly. We want to see what works very quickly. After the 72 hours, then we switch over to target CPA. And once we switch over to target CPA, we let it run over the next 3 to 4 days. So we give it a 7-day testing period where we don't really touch anything, but we still monitor it. Obviously, our clients have, sometimes specific budgets. They give us a specific budget amount. We set rules to make sure we don't go over that budget, but we want to make sure that we let the Google algorithm do its thing. And within that first 7 days, we do first 3 days, max conversions, next 4 days, target TPA. And usually by the end of that 4th day, technically the 7th day of that first week of testing, your cost per lead or cost per sale will be a lot lower than when you first started. And you'll be, if you have a great offer, if you have a great business, it's already proven, you'll be within batting range of where you want to be. Not always, but that's what we found to be our best launching strategy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, this is pure gold that you're giving us here. This is what you'd find in a YouTube's ad course if you went and paid for one right now.
100%.
Speaking of which, no, just kidding.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, this is why you would have, it seems like you're putting a wide net there, and this is why you do have to have some budget then going into it to play the strategy, it sounds like.
100%. Yeah. So that's kind of why I wanted to pre-frame this from the very beginning of like, look, you're going to have to let the algorithm do its thing. You're going to have to give it the broadness, but also the specificness and the targeting to make sure you're, layering the YouTube world with your ads in the right places, but also maybe the wrong places to see where your audience is hanging out exactly. And then once you actually do that 7-day process, you'll see which keyword worked. Maybe you found a keyword that's a winner of, let's say, podcasting in 2021, just for some reason hits, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a strategy that like most people don't even talk about here that I've actually discovered when I was working with Dean, where, for example, when I was with him, one of the best keywords for him was, law of attraction. That thing just hit for his Millionaire Success Habits offer, right? And so I was like, how can we scale this keyword, right? We're not just scaling the campaign, but you go deep enough to where you can ask yourself, and I geek out on this stuff, so that's why I'm doing it, right? But how can I scale the keyword of law of attraction? I go to Dean and I say, hey, Dean, I need you to film a video specifically with the hook in the first 5 seconds saying the law of attraction keyword. So he makes a video saying, the law of attraction, does it really work? So anybody who's watching a video related to the law of attraction, or anybody who's recently watched a video related to the law of attraction, is immediately going to be like, well, yeah, does it? Right?
Yep.
And now they're watching at least for another few seconds. So you can go that specific as well, but you have to give, like your point, Joe, you have to give the budget enough to be able to find those, to be able to even get to that point where you can scale just that specific keyword.
Now, are you breaking out keywords into their own ad groups? Because you mentioned that, the various things that you're targeting, right? You want your affinity audiences, your in-market, your various keywords, retargeting. Are these all separate ad groups, or do you kind of lump them all in and then kind of analyze what was working in that lumped in ad?
Yeah, great question. So I kind of skipped over that part, but the campaign structure looks like this. We call it the 3-1s method. Okay, the 3-1s method is 1 campaign, 1 ad group, 1 targeting. Okay, now you can also go as specific as the 4-1s method, which is 1 campaign, 1 ad group, 1 targeting, 1 ad. So if you want to split test ads evenly, what you would do, for example, is you would do 1 campaign, 1 ad group, let's say a keyword of law of attraction, and you would do 1 ad variation only in that campaign. Then you would duplicate that campaign and do the second ad variation that you have that you want to test. It's the same campaign, different ad. Same targeting, just a different ad. So you're testing the ad head to head. The best way possible that we found within Google Ads is, kind of algorithm campaign structure to evenly test the ads head to head without them cannibalizing each other. And I learned this from Tommy Powers, who's a YouTube Ads, OG. Yeah. Tommy Powers told me this from the very beginning when he was mentoring me on YouTube Ads. He was like, what's happening is sometimes when you, like I said, the stuffing method with all the keywords in the campaign, right? One of them is just going to take off, just like with your ads. Just like if you have 5 ads in 1 campaign and 1 ad group, one of the ads is going to get the majority of the spend. You're not going to know exactly if the other ads are good or not, because that one ad Google thinks is the best winner or the one that people are responding to the most. So if you want to be very scientific about it, it takes a little bit more time, unless you want to, just do it the easy way. But if you want to do it the scientific way, you'd want to break out the 4-1s method: 1 campaign, 1 ad group, 1 targeting, and then 1 ad, and then just duplicate that to where you have all your ad variations. And let's say you have 5 ads, you have 5 campaigns, all targeting the same targeting, but you have 1 ad that's different in each of those campaigns. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. Yeah. And we had we had Tommy Traffic on the show not too long ago as well, and yeah, he's a smart dude.
Tommy's a beast, man.
Oh, he was. I remember our big takeaway there was creatives. He was like, most people aren't just making enough creatives, so you just hammered that point in too.
And he told me that too. And I was like, I remember one time where this happens with every offer, and every offer you scale that hits the cold traffic and is a winner, you'll experience these ebbs and flows, as my friend Nick and team member likes to say, these ebbs and flows of highs and then lows, right? And it's the same in the advertising world, right? So you'll have a cold traffic campaign that's scaling all of a sudden, and for whatever reason, things just aren't profitable from one day to the next. And then it's like, if you really think about it, right? Like going back to the 123 video example, right? It's mainly just because the ads start fatiguing, especially when you're spending $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a day on ads profitably. You're literally going to the masses now. You're literally being, seen by or getting impressions by millions of people within a matter of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? So how can you expect the same ad that worked 8 months ago to continue working? And how can you expect your campaigns to still be profitable that were the ones that were profitable 8 months ago unless you refresh the creative? And he taught me that principle. So yeah, shout out to Tommy Powers, man. He's spot on there. And unless you're going to be able to be willing to film new creatives with new hooks and new angles to pitch your offer and, give them a new look at why they should get it, maybe it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think so far, this whole conversation, we've really focused on in-stream ads, right? So like all the process that you've mapped out has been the in-stream ads. And when it comes to YouTube, there's really kind of two types of ads that people seem to talk about. You got the in-stream ads, which are the ones when somebody, turns on a YouTube video and after 5 seconds, it gives them the ability to skip it. And, everybody's seen those ads. And then you've got what's called discovery ads, which are essentially YouTube's search engine. When somebody searches, you're trying to be the ad that shows up at the top, similar to Google search, but in YouTube. Do you do a lot with the discovery ad side of things, or are you mostly focused on in-stream with your clients?
Yeah. So the first thing we solve for our clients is the in-stream ads, because those are the ones that are best for conversions. Okay. And we don't even touch video discovery until we crack the code to cold traffic with in-stream ads. Where video discovery does come to play is when that code has been cracked and they're already profitable on the front end, or their offer is profitable, however their business model is set up to be on the back end or whatever. Once that happens with YouTube ads, then we start, implementing our, remarketing and basically, branding process, which is basically we start doing video discovery ads for keywords related to anybody searching them online that have maybe seen their ads, or, searching for topics around the videos or offers that they sell. So we'll make video discovery ads from their organic videos and run them as ads, and we'll blanket YouTube by targeting their brand keywords, their company keywords, their brand name, their personal name. And that way it adds a layer of basically brand protection from anybody who's going to be searching for their name. Their video is going to pop up to the very top of the search results that we want them to see, leading them down a very specific, customer journey that, we map out with our clients. So we do, but we only do it once the in-stream ads has been cracked to cold traffic with YouTube ads, because video discovery ads can be very good, but they're also not, they're not cheap as most people kind of sell them to be, which I've seen before. They're saying like, to grow your subscribers on YouTube, just run video discovery ads. Like it's so easy. Okay. Yeah. Until you spend, 20 cents per view, and then you pay, $10 per new subscriber. Like, don't lie to people, guy. Like it doesn't work that easy, right? Like it's going to cost you money. So why would we, and I'm just speaking for myself, like why would we spend that money for our clients when it's going to cost them more money, unless we've already been making money and we have enough money to then diversify over to video discovery and invest in just growing their organic presence on YouTube, or growing their subscriber base by reaching new people and essentially targeting keywords related to their competitors. So our video pops up to the very top of the search results.
That makes. How about on the? I'm thinking about the call to actions on the in-stream side of things. Are there? What are some offer types? Some CTAs that you like to go to. I know you had the free plus shipping offer with Dean. Are there some other offers that you see work well? Yeah.
So to be specific about like the actual, you mean like the headline and the call to action on the actual ad,
so,
or like the
more
video?
So what you're driving traffic to from a YouTube ad.
Oh, you mean so like the actual landing page?
Yes. Yeah. So the
Okay.
call to action, and then where are you taking them to
So
from
maybe
YouTube?
maybe like, people might be trying to drive YouTube ads straight to a sales page versus a, free lead magnet versus a free plus shipping offer. Like,
Yeah.
what sort of variations have you seen work well specifically from YouTube ads?
Yeah. So for example, right, like for a free challenge or for a $1, we're running a $1 trial right now. That's, for a membership continuity program on the front end. It's a $1 trial. It then, after 30 days converts them over to a $39 paying customer on a monthly continuity plan in the health and fitness niche. And his call to action that he is saying and that we're using on the actual ads themselves is, $1 trial. And then it's, learn more. It's nothing crazy, but it's just literally giving them the actual offer on the headline. Because with YouTube ads, and it's pretty crazy you only have a limited amount of real estate to use with YouTube ads, right? So the headline has to be like 15 characters max. Like the call to action, which is the blue button that they can click, that actually has a text on it, is only 10 characters. So you don't have much room to work with. So you got to be very creative here. But learn more on the blue button has always been, my best friend, our best friend. Get it now if it's a free plus shipping book offer, or if it's a low ticket offer, get it now. Or let's say it's a webinar where you have to, enroll or register or save a seat to actually watch or opt in. We do save seat, or we do watch now. And then the headline would be like, free training. For webinars, we usually do free training. For free plus shipping book offers, we do free book offer as the headline. For the $1 trial, we do $1 trial. On the actual video messaging though, we have them do a number of call to actions in the actual video, but the messaging has to be the same as, what they're seeing on the landing page. Because when they go over it, if it's two different call to actions, it's not going to make sense. And if the offer is different than what they're saying on the video, so you have to be congruent every step of the way through the funnel, right? So you want to make sure that and this is why it's a lot easier, in my personal opinion, to get started with YouTube ads than most people make it out to be, because you already have your copy for your videos done. It's on your sales page, right? Yeah. And you just literally replicate that over to your videos, and you just make the messaging similar, the call to action similar to what's already on the landing page. So the customer journey is very easy. It flows and it's not incongruent. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it's perfect, because that's kind of that next step. A lot of folks don't think about, okay, what is the next step from YouTube?
Yeah. So, just to go deeper on that specific question, do you find that it's better to drive people to more of a lead capture versus go straight for the sale? Because when I see like a free plus shipping, yes, there is a cost, right? You might pay $6-10 for it, but it's still a lead play, right? It's just you're getting a little bit higher value leads than a free lead. So do you find that driving from YouTube ads to a lead capture, people get better results than going straight for the sale off of a video?
Well, for webinars, for sure, right? Because they have to opt in and they have to watch the webinar. But as far as like free lead magnets with YouTube ads, unless the funnel is so dialed in to where you can afford to pay $8, $7 per lead, and out of those many leads, and your email sequence is so on point that after 7 days, 10% of people are going to buy your $997 course, it'll be pretty hard to make those numbers work with the free lead magnet on the front end. That's why you usually see people going very high ticket on YouTube. But we've also, dispelled that myth as well. And we've ran as low as, $1 trial offers, or free plus shipping offers, or $37 info product workout program offers. And, even as high as $297, course sales to just a VSL sales page for a $297 course in the photography niche. And we've cracked that to cold traffic too. So I guess, unless you have the pieces in place already where your email sequence is dialed in to nurture that lead right to where you want them to be at the end of your email sequence, to where your numbers, once again, goes back to knowing your numbers, to be able to make the numbers work to where you can afford to pay $15 or $10 or $5 per lead for a free, lead capture, then you would much rather want to start off with an actual low ticket sale, or a higher ticket training that's pitched through some long form VSL or a webinar.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating, and then the back end, of course, because I'm thinking, well, you have a subscription offer, so the $1 trial to subscription, and then you can have the high ticket coaching. So two different business models, of course. Yeah. And I guess it depends on the very front end. Yeah, and like you said, you're just basically trying to break even. It sounds like with that front end offer as much as possible. Yeah, and then the back end is really going to serve and make it most profitable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where most people get it most people have this misconception where you need like, well, I wouldn't say misconception. It's maybe their business model is broken or they don't know it's broken yet, right? So for example, with the free plus shipping offer, like I already mentioned, your goal should be to break even. And if you're profitable, awesome. You're now, making money, making $1 or $2 for every $1 you spend, right? But ultimately the goal of a free plus shipping book offer, is to break even, to get, a higher ticket lead, like you said, Matt. And so it's like, but for a $1 trial, right, where it's a $39 a month membership continuity, like we have for one of our clients right now, it's, hey, he can afford to pay $55, right? Because he knows on average, he has a 50% churn rate. So if we get him, 30 new trial members per day, 15 are going to stick. Out of those 15 are going to be staying on for at least a minimum of 6 months. He knows that number. So if we can get him $55 trial membership, $55 trials, 30 trials, at $55 each, he is happy. He is now generating, well, you could do the math on that, but, a really good monthly continuity that's growing and is going to continue to grow for his business every single month.
Very cool. Now, I'd love to just sort of ask you about some specific potential use cases and just kind of see what your advice would be on them. One of them, going back to something that you mentioned earlier, which was growing a YouTube channel using ads. Is that something that you even think is viable through YouTube ads? Is there a way to grow a channel using ads? Or in your opinion, is it just too expensive and not worth it?
Yeah, great question. So this is a very, very common question, a very hot topic too, right? And, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I have had little success growing a YouTube channel with video ads on YouTube, with discovery ads, with in-stream ads. For example, if I remember correctly, like when we were, scaling, I always use Dean as an example, but even for, okay, so the same person that's running that $1 trial, he has an already popular YouTube channel. He has 500,000 YouTube subscribers. Okay, so he already had his organic presence, dialed in, and we started running video discovery ads for him, and we were getting a new subscriber for on average $1.80. So that's a brand new subscriber, an average of $1.80 cost per subscriber, and but how do you measure that though, right? So for him, he didn't really know exactly how much that subscriber was worth to his business. So until you have those metrics, to measure that, it's going to be hard for you to really work out the kinks of how much you need to spend to get $1 or to get one new subscriber, right? And from my personal experience, even spending, millions of dollars just on in-stream ads, you only get like, I think Google measures it to like, it reflects like, I think I remember like 25,000 new subscribers have transitioned over from those, millions of dollars in ad spend over to that, to Dean's channel, right? Or something like that. So it was like, it's a hard, using YouTube ads to grow your channel isn't as easy, once again, as most people think. It takes a very specific strategy that I think you should only really dabble with, like when we do, is after we've already cracked the code and are profitable on the front end, to then have the money to invest in this organic strategy to grow their brand long term and get new faces onto their YouTube channel. But to be completely honest with you guys, we haven't mastered that yet. So I can't sit here and say, hey, this is exactly what you need to do. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine too that subscribers could essentially be a byproduct of just running ads to whatever your offer is. I remember when we were doing a lot with Facebook ads, and we had we still do. We have a fan page. We run Facebook ads off the back of that fan page. Our Facebook ads are designed to drive people to offers, to lead magnets, to podcast episodes, things like that. But just because of the reach and the visibility of these ads, we're just inevitably getting people to like our fan page as well.
Yep.
And I would imagine like YouTube's going to be kind of the same thing. Focus on promoting your offer on YouTube with YouTube ads. And as a byproduct, you'll probably also see some subscriber growth.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. And all like, I always mess this metaphor up, but it's basically like, all tides bring up all ships or something like that, right? Like when you're running YouTube ads and you're profitable and you're spending money, like you're going to see an influx of growth on your Instagram. You're going to see an influx of growth on your Facebook page. You're going to see an influx of growth of people joining your organic Facebook group that's free. You're going to see an influx of growth on your YouTube channel, new comments, new people that haven't been following you before, new messages in your inbox on Instagram saying, hey, I saw your ad on YouTube. Just want to say I bought the program. You're going to, and one thing too, that's also a really good byproduct of running YouTube ads is literally because of that 30-second window that you don't pay for someone who doesn't watch more than 30 seconds or doesn't click on your ad, you literally have free impressions to spam well, I don't want to say spam, to literally get in front of anybody who's anybody that's in your target audience, and they're going to know your name. They're going to know exactly who you are. And if you can do a good job on the video creative side of things, right, you can have enough creatives to refresh them and at least say, hey, I'm not in the market for this guy, but at least I know his name. So you're going to become a household name or a celebrity within your marketplace as a result of YouTube ads, which I haven't really seen to be the case for running ads on Facebook. But with YouTube ads, you're going to get these thousands of free impressions, and you're going to become a go-to solution or the go-to solution in your niche and your marketplace because of those free impressions.
It's perfect branding. I mean, it seems like you're positioning yourself on YouTube with some video that someone's usually has an intent on watching. And then here comes Brian with this video right here. And, your face is now attached to that thing that they probably already wanted or were interested in. So it could be a branding play, even if they're not the perfect target market.
Well, even if you just look at what Tai Lopez did, right? Like Tai Lopez had his Here in My Garage video, and I don't know what kind of budget he put behind that, but there was a month-long period where that was the only ad I ever saw on YouTube, but now everybody knows who Tai Lopez is.
Yeah, rumor was he spent like upwards of like close to 20 million or something on that ad, man.
I heard something like that.
I mean, he made obviously how much more on that, right? So to be able to spend that much, but yeah, he bought up all the real estate space when YouTube ads was still in the infancy of becoming the next thing, right? Which it still isn't even the next thing. I don't think it's still on the cusp of like really becoming, a leading authority in the advertising platform space, which is why it's still, a great opportunity to start, testing now, start testing and start investing into YouTube ads because, it may not work right at the beginning, but it's like, as long as you keep at it and keep dialing your messaging in and you just look at the data and you have the strategy. The most important thing is the strategy. Like I said, it's not one video ad. Tai Lopez, I think before that ad, he was also a copywriter too. So he had experience in the direct response marketing world to be able to crush it. And he took advantage of the opportunity. And right now you probably, someone watching this video or someone watching this podcast are probably in a niche or marketplace that most people aren't advertising on YouTube right now for. And you could take up that real estate, take up that niche, take up that marketplace and become the go-to solution, become the Tai Lopez of that niche. Just don't use a Lamborghini now because it's kind of played out, but you can do other things.
That's cool. How about on the stats side of things? I know in analytics on YouTube, it's like Google Analytics. It's just monstrous. You can see pretty much everything. Are there certain things that you're looking for on the stat sides of things? I know obviously there's ads and then there's organic sides. What metrics are you paying the most attention to? Maybe on each side of those, just so people have a reference and not get lost.
Yeah, great question. So what to be looking for when you're actually running these campaigns? How do you know if it's working, or what do you know you need to improve? What metrics do you need to look at to know what you need to improve next or work on next, right? So for Google Ads, there's really 3 metrics that we look for. And this is just, it's basically like, okay, what's the cost per lead / cost per sale? Okay. What's the actual, number of conversions? Or number 3, what's the click-through rate? So those 3 numbers are going to tell us everything. So for example, if our cost per lead is way too high, we know it's one of usually 2 things. It's either the ad's message is just not hitting home, or it's just not resonating with our ideal demographic because it's costing us way too much to get our ideal customer to actually opt in or pay. And we usually work on that. Or if the cost per lead is really low, but the cost per conversion is very high, it's the landing page. The landing page needs work. When they go to the page, the messaging is off somewhere to where they're just not converting. So, basically, once again, to recap, if the cost per lead is really high, but the click-through rate, is really high, it's just the messaging is not good. So, but if the cost per lead is very low, right, then the conversion value for that lead is just really high. You need to work on the actual landing page messaging, because at the end of the day, right, you could look at click-through rates, and a good click-through rate from us and from video ads on YouTube and YouTube ads is anything above 1.25%. Okay, that should be base standard. You should work to be able to get a click-through rate of 1.25%. That would be good. Great would be 1.5, really good. And like where you're now, like your messaging is on point and people are just clicking is 2%, right? Anything above 2%, 2 to 3% is like, okay, your message in your ad is so good that people are clicking, and it's now in the space of like, okay, you can expand that really well to cold traffic because the messaging's there. But if your click-through rate's super high and then your cost per lead's super high, the click-through rate doesn't matter because your cost per lead's super high, right? So it's the messaging on the actual page that now needs work. So you really want to focus on those 3 metrics and use that to formulate what exactly you need to work on next. because it doesn't matter if you have a high click-through rate and your messaging's on point if people are clicking and then they're just not converting. So that's from the Google Ads side of things. From Google Analytics, really the only things we measure on Google Analytics, well, we do Google Analytics for a number of things. Obviously, you want to see the different demographics that are coming in, which demographics are actually going to be the ones that are converting the most. And we used Google Analytics and the actual audiences that we're targeting and creating in Google Analytics to find new audiences. So we use Google Analytics to measure, to create new audiences, new remarketing lists, but to also look inside of those remarketing lists and to see new possible audiences to target. So for example, 2 audiences that Google Ads and Analytics automatically populate for you when you start creating your account is all website visitors as well as all converters. Now, what you can do is you can immediately go into all converters once you start getting some conversions, usually over 100 to 1,000, and then you go into all converters and you can see different in-market and affinity audiences that are in that all converters audience that you can use to then target into your in-market campaign or your affinity campaign or your custom campaign and find new audiences to expand the message even further. Now that then, in order to make that work profitably though, you got to make sure your messaging's on point to that specific target audience. So it's kind of cool because if you really geek out on this stuff, you would be able to then see, well, all I have to do is make a message that's specific for people that are in the market for health and fitness supplements and really make it for that person. So if I'm selling a $1 membership trial to a workout program, I'm going to go after this in-market audience of people that are in the market for health and fitness supplements and make my message very relevant to them and say, the last thing you need to lose weight is a health and fitness supplement right now. You don't need to buy another weight loss product. You need to actually get a proven plan from a coach that can help you and hold your hand every step of the way to make sure that your workouts are on point, working out no more than 3, whatever the pitch is, right? But you go after those people looking for health and fitness supplements. So you can really geek out on it. But we use Google Analytics mainly for new audience reach, as well as seeing which demographics in terms of household income, age are actually converting the most. And then that's kind of like the step, I would say 3. Once you get the offer working, once you're converting to cold traffic, then you can start layering audiences. You can start combining keywords within market. You can start creating campaigns that are just specific to 45-year-olds who are males, who are, in the top 10% of income, and get really granular there. But you can only do that once you acquire the data first, once you go broad and specific at the same time to be able to have, this functionality to be able to layer things like that.
Dang. Bro, you are a magician at this. I love it.
You think I do it for you think I've been doing it for a while.
Yes. Oh man. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered quite a bit of ground. I mean, I do have quite a bit of other questions we could go down, but I'm worried this would be that sort of 3-hour Joe Rogan episode if we did that. So I will ask this because it's something that I bumped into, and it was something that I actually asked for your help from earlier, and you gave me just some amazing email back and forth about this. And it's when it comes to discovery ads, I know it's not something that you necessarily recommend right out of the gate for people, but when I've done discovery ads in the past, I was running into issues where I would target keywords that got plenty of search volume. It wasn't that there wasn't anybody searching, but I was just never getting any impressions with it. It was, even when I did the search myself, it would never show up my ad. So I'm curious, what are some of the best practices to actually get a discovery ad to work?
Yeah, what we found to work best with discovery ads is you have to be pretty broad. And it kind of sucks to say that because you're going to spend a little bit more money. But I think, from when we talked, Matt, I think it was the keywords you were bidding on, I don't know if they had enough search volume there. And I think you were getting a few impressions. So you were getting the impressions and you were probably taking up the real estate space when people were searching for those. But there just maybe was a little bit of a lack of search volume. And I could be wrong. I didn't dive into it too deep, but I know from what you told me, that's, I think was my conclusion. But for example, when we found video discovery ads to work, you got to keep it stupid simple. You got to go pretty broad with the keyword you're going to be targeting, or you got to go as broad as doing an affinity audience or a custom audience related to, for example, in your guys' case, podcasting in 2021 or podcast setup, podcast equipment, and maybe 3 to 5 keywords, 5 to 10 keywords, nothing crazy, no long tail keywords with 5 words, 6 words, 7 words, 2 to 3 words max. And you got to test a bunch of different combinations of those in different audiences, and once again 5 audiences per campaign, right? And then let those and see which one gives you the most impressions. But the same thing with keywords too, right? You use the same keywords you're going to create for those custom audiences and just put them in their own campaign and group them out specifically for the campaign. And I think it was just maybe people just don't test enough too. But yeah, one campaign, one ad group, one targeting. And then if you want to go one layer deeper, one ad, 4 ones, 3 ones. So yeah, you just got to be very broad with video discovery. But you also got to have a video that's very relevant to that niche and that marketplace. So that way, if they click, you actually have a very good value video that can introduce them to your world, give them something to download for free in the description, or, subscribe to or watch for free, like a webinar. And you'd be pretty well off.
Yeah. And I imagine in discovery ads specifically, the thumbnail and then the actual title of your video are a bit more important than they would be in like an in-stream ad.
100%. You have way more real estate on the video discovery ad to actually write a good headline and a good description, and use direct response marketing 101. And as well as you got to make the thumbnail very eye-catching for sure. And the cool part about it is, it looks like an organic video, so it can work out to your favor.
Yeah.
Very cool. I mean,
You good there?
yeah, unless you have some other questions, I don't want to take us.
One tip for that, for video discovery, easy way to do this. If you already have a YouTube channel that's already, working really well, take your most popular organic video of all time, run it as a discovery ad. And that's most likely, from our experience, going to be your best YouTube discovery ad to start with. And then if that works and you're getting subscribers, or if your goal is to get some more subscribers for $1 or $2, right, which we've done, you would just make another video similar to that, but different. Just make another one similar to that, but different, and then start expanding on that. So if you already have a YouTube channel and you already have a very viral video that just went crazy, copy and paste it over to video discovery and run it as a discovery ad to get more traction, more engagement, because that's the one that gave you the subscribers in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's I think that's a brilliant tactic. And I actually saw another YouTube video not too long ago where they were basically saying, go into your Google, or not your Google Analytics, but your YouTube Analytics, and then sort it by, I think you sort it by the amount of views, and then you look at the subscriber to view ratio.
Yes.
Right. So whatever
that's
one
how you
had
do
the
it.
most subscribers based on the amount of views. So it's like the ratio of subscribers to amount of views. That's the video you want to run a discovery ad to.
Whichever video you had that had the least amount of views but the highest amount of subscribers, boom, run that.
Yeah.
Or if you have 2 or 3 that are close together, run those 3.
Love it. So cool.
Dude, paid YouTube advertising masterclass right here. I mean, this is amazing, Brian. Adspin.com. I just want to direct folks to you because you're obviously, you are so damn knowledgeable. And Tommy hooked you up. Dean, I mean, I'm so happy that you're in the mix of all this stuff. And so if folks want to go reach out to you, is that the best place? Adspin.com?
Yeah, adspin.com. You guys can find us, who we've worked with. And if you guys want any help with your things, just reach out to me. We'd be happy to chat.
Right,
Sweet.
man. Thank you so much for being so open and just transparent with all
thank
this
you guys
stuff.
for letting me just share, man. Yeah, happy to add value any way I can.
Awesome, man.
Love
Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys.
That was a masterclass.
My brain is full of YouTube ad strategies.
Yeah, but that was way before today.
That's true. No, that was gnarly.
Your brain
man.
filled up a long time ago, Joe.
I don't know, man. I think I just have a whole new perspective now on ads. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, that's how they work. No, Brian is a freaking, like I said, he's a magician. He's a scientist. I mean, you can tell he's like literally approaches this like a scientist.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think he's like so thorough. He was the most thorough I've ever met.
Yeah.
On YouTube ads.
I mean, if you were to listen to this episode and the episode with Tommy Powers, it's like those 2 episodes are probably better than almost any sort of training you can go buy on YouTube ads right now.
Just saying that, get the action guide to this episode because I will guarantee it's worth your time.
Yes.
Go get them. So go to flowchartgroup.com and plug in your email address when you're asked to. It is going to be at Facebook. So it'll be like the second or third question. But flowchartgroup.com, 2 weeks of this going live, you'll get the notes for free.
Yes. Go do that. So your brain is full of YouTube stuff. What are some of the big takeaways that you got from this one?
Well, I would say it's just the process of really just understanding how to approach ads, because you hear the in-stream thing, you hear discovery ads. And I like the phases in which he approaches ads. He's not kind of jumping around between both. He's not focused on organic stuff. I mean, I know that's not his forte, but he said, in stream first, and then really, focus on nailing that and, getting some conversions. I think that's the thing is a lot of people might think about, I want to try some YouTube ads, and including us, without maybe a deeper funnel.
And then we go run one video and go, man, YouTube ads don't work because that video didn't convert.
Yeah. It's just like Tommy Traffic, the number of creatives. I mean, and he was harping on, I think most of that episode was all about creatives with Tommy. And he was like, the issue is most people just don't make enough creatives. Yeah. And that's definitely been our case. And I think most.
Well, I loved how thorough Brian was on this episode. Yeah. Like, cause he broke down, where to target 3 cold targets, 2 remarket targets, cold targets being, some keyword audiences, some in-market, some affinity audiences. Those are your, that thing. And then as far as like the bidding strategy, he even went as far to say run it as max conversion bidding for 72 hours. And then after 72 hours, start targeting CPA. And he's like, you'll notice you'll get your cost per acquisition way, way, way down by running that strategy. And then he even told us that you want to shoot for a minimum of 1.25% click-through rate. And if you're getting 2+, you're kind of a rock star in the YouTube world. And I'm just sitting here going, man, he's given me like all of my sort of milestones that I need to hit with this stuff.
It's literally the framework to run YouTube ads.
And then on top of that, he went, and what should your YouTube ads say? Well, follow this formula. It's like,
here's what to put in the buttons. Here are like the 10 swipe words or phrases you can use as call to actions there. Yeah. And also like, what you should be kind of doing on your landing page and everything behind the ads as well.
Yeah. Grab attention, exclude the audience that you don't want while grabbing the attention, and then... what was the sort of 3-part formula? It was
it's hook, story, or offer.
Oh yeah, the story is what I was mentioning. I was about to forget. The hook them in and then tell the story and then make the offer.
Yeah, and actually I brought it up on the episode, but is in the first 30 seconds or 25 seconds, I think he said, is try to disqualify anyone that's not a great fit for your ad, and that's probably going to be most people. Yeah. But at the same time, speak to the people, and you're not going to get charged if you're disqualifying before that the 30-second mark, right?
Yeah
So I mean, a lot of little things add up to big wins. And I think if you really understand and study what Brian's putting down here, and you have the offer and the budgets to work his system, because he's talking about scale here, and of course not everyone has that ability to do it, but you sure as hell know what's working now and what to work up to.
I mean, I think so. At the beginning, there was something that I was a little worried might scare the audience off, right? At the beginning, he kind of said, unless you're kind of over 6 figures or even high 6 figures, you probably don't want to be looking into YouTube ads yet. I feel like that's coming from the perspective that he's working as an agency, working with these high ticket clients. I know that between some of the experiments we've done and some of the people we've talked to, they are running much, much, much smaller budgets and actually seeing results with YouTube ads. So that's like one area where I was kind of like, I hope we're not scaring people off, because from a philosophical standpoint, what he's teaching with YouTube ads is how you should approach YouTube ads. From a budgetary standpoint, he's operating from the perspective of what he knows among his clients, right? But I do feel that there is room to be playing with YouTube ads at much lower budgets as well.
Yeah. And definitely, the ideal scenario is what he was putting down, it sounds like. And using the framework, the process, I mean, this is literally what he does to work with these people that are pushing loads of traffic and consistent sales, leads, all that stuff. So hopefully you didn't get scared off. I mean, if you didn't, if you're here.
If you made it this far and you heard that part, then you didn't get scared off. So did I even need to say it, or did I just waste the last 2 minutes of your life?
You did. Well, but hopefully they maybe skip by that.
Yeah, and most people are probably listening to this at like 1.5 speed or something like I do.
Right. We sound like chipmunks. Not quite yet. Yeah, I mean, you are the YouTube, or you're the media buyer brain of the two of us. So I kind of let you just nerd out. I mean, I didn't let you. I was just like, freaking hey, man. And both Brian and you just riffing, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
No, it was great. And like, I honestly, I can't wait to grab the notes myself on this. I obviously like hand wrote some notes, but there's some things that I didn't
see that chicken scratch
that I didn't manage to chicken scratch into my notes. So I'm actually looking forward to getting these notes because I feel like these notes are going to be like a step-by-step process to running YouTube ads.
That's the goal for sure. So flowchartgroup.com, go grab them.
I also think he would make a great fit as one of our monthly guest experts in PodHacker at some point.
PodHacker?
Yeah.
We should bring him on there. Yeah. And the idea there is expert sessions we're going to do in that PodHacker membership of ours. Go check her out, podhacker.com. It's a new brand of ours. And yeah, we're bringing on experts every month. People like Brian and possibly Brian. People are doing just basically who are the biggest experts in their skill set and how that applies to podcasting.
Yeah.
Growing a podcast, community, making money.
Would be great.
What
would be great is to do a live session instead of PodHacker, bring on Tommy Powers and Brian Moncada, and do almost like a dual panel of like, all right, we got people watching that need to grow the hell out of their podcast. They want to do it with YouTube ads. Let's figure this out together.
What do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be rad, man. And then workshop together, get some questions going, and stir around a lot of ideas. Obviously, that's not what Brian's kind of do, or at least that's not what the framework's approach, but there's got to be variations.
Yeah.
And things to do that. That's a great idea.
I mean, really, the idea behind PodHacker is, like you said, bring in these experts every single month that are specialized in certain areas, but maybe not specialized in podcasting, but bring them in to go, okay, we're podcasters. You have your specialty. Let's close the gap between what you specialize in and podcasting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like the idea of bringing Tommy and him and maybe another,
John Belcher. I mean,
possibly. Yeah. I don't want to overload too much at once because you might have, might go for 5 hours.
And also we may not be able to pull all these people together at the same time. So I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver there, but
it's just throwing it out there. So yeah, that's the idea with, how we can apply some of this stuff. So, yeah, good idea, Matt.
There we go.
Oh, man, what a day.
What
this is good.
A day.
Lastly, 2 things.
So not lastly, second to lastly.
Yes, 2 things. Easy Webinar. There's our boys over there who are sponsoring this fabulous show of ours. At least we think so.
We think they're sponsoring it?
No, at least I think we're fabulous. Fabulous show. Easy Webinar.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
It is a great webinar platform. It does automated webinars, hybrid webinars, live webinars.
All the webinars.
All the webinars. It does all of the webinars.
All of the webinars. I wish I had some like cool testimony. I like reading the testimonials and like case study type things. But
well, let's have some in front of us next time.
We probably should do that.
But
blank screens. Been staring at screens all day.
Regardless, he's hooking you up because you're listening to this episode right now.
Well, that's what happens if you can make it this deep into the episode.
You get hooked up.
You get hooked up. In a good way. So go to easywebinar.com/hustle. That's easywebinar.com/hustle. And he's knocking off quite a bit off the price depending on whatever plan you choose. But check out that page. You'll get a ton of ideas. If you're interested in webinars or if you're already doing webinars, you'll see how you can leverage the tool and likely save a lot of headaches in the process because you don't have to worry about a lot of tech stuff because that's what they do.
Yes. easywebinar.com/hustle.
Get it.
All right. That was second to lastly. What's lastly?
Lastly is share this around with someone who's looking for some YouTube ad help, huh? I think this is a pretty good masterclass to give them.
Yeah.
So treat them. Just surprise someone. Start emailing folks. Post on social. Hey, you don't even need to do that. You can do the social thing if you want, but like go direct. Be like, just surprise someone. Just be like, hey, was thinking of you. I know you talked about YouTube ads. Hey, Jim, you're welcome. Mary, it's on me. There you go.
Yeah, tell them that course you're thinking about buying. Don't buy that course. Just go listen to that episode. You're going to get the same stuff.
Seriously. At least start here. So share it around. We'd appreciate it. I'm pretty sure your friends would too. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Peace. Bye. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. Before taking the time to listen, we want to give you something a little bit special. Every single episode that we do, we actually have somebody on our team take notes. We basically have a Cliff's Notes version of every episode where you can go and find all of the tips and tactics that they laid out, all of the resources that they laid out, all the good stuff from this episode. We actually have a nice, simple notes version that you can find on our website. So go to evergreenprofits.com, find this episode that you just listened to, and give us your email address, and we'll send you the notes. Thanks for listening.
Go get it.
Wiki.